Hello, my name is Floor from Illusterium. I do all things related to fantasy art, mostly illustrations, and for this video, we're doing exactly that. Costume change. Every month I draw a postcard for my Patreons, and they get to pick the subject. But this month things escalated due to a tie in the poll. So for this illustration I'm combining not 2, but 3 themes into one design. The concept for this Patreon setup started with me wanting to connect more with the art community and my audience. I love drawing, but sometimes I just need that extra push and randomness. This is why I still have the ambition to make a wild magic sorcerer for a Dungeons & Dragons campaign. If you know, you know. So rolling dice to decide what to draw or hosting a poll works perfectly to get my creative juices flowing. At the beginning of every month, I come up with an overall theme and 4 sub-themes. They are presented to my Patreons, free and paid, and they get to decide what the subject of the drawing will be. The finished drawing is then sent to the printer and comes back in the form of postcards. The arcane tier will receive said postcards by mail. And if I particularly like the design, I'll also print a limited stock of A4 prints with, for example, gold foil. I usually make multiple sketches for the composition. However, for this illustration I had a very clear image in mind of how I wanted it. So I actually skipped that step. I found some lovely reference pictures on Pinterest, which was a very necessary step because I have never drawn a hare in my life. I did make 4 color sketches. And because I live in a democracy, I put the 4 color options up to a vote on Patreon. This is the sketch that won the vote. I have a soft spot for working with digital ink brushes lately. I have made the last 5 or 6 illustrations with them more. So I was enthusiastically starting to use this style again for this illustration. But it really felt like the illustration was actively fighting me. The process was going so slowly. It wasn't going to happen, and instinctively I felt that this was a subject that absolutely had to be painted and not drawn. So away with the digital ink and hello digital paint. Sometimes you just have to surrender. When I paint like this, I like to create happy little accidents. This way you can create colors you didn't know were needed. I do this by laying out the flat colors, creating a new layer, and then go to town with the different layer settings, opacities, and hue levels. Then, on a new layer, again, I start rendering, taking all the happy accidents and paint over them like they were always meant to happen. So combining multiple themes won't always work out for me. Designs get muddy and the message unclear. I get too ambitious, try to pack as much meaning into a drawing as I can, and in the end lose focus of what is important. But thankfully the themes for this particular illustration had an overall theme to begin with, namely spring. And the sub-themes were Jester, Dryad, Flower Fairy, and Hare. The only theme not making the cut was Jester, which is too bad for me. I love jesters. Have you seen my Bard Jester outfit I made in my last video? If not, I'll link it in the top right corner so you don't miss out. Anyway, the Jester theme will come back sometime soon. Probably as an overall theme instead of a avoidable sub-theme. So, the Dryad, mainly known as the protectors of trees, spirits of the forest, and tree nymphs. They sometimes, in classical art, get depicted as pretty ladies who fear neither public ridicule nor the cold, for they wear absolutely nothing. Or just some picnic blanket someone left lying around in the forest. In modern art, they are often more depicted in the ant-like fashion, being part trees themselves and rocking that faithful second-level bark skin spell. For my design, I was going with the latter depiction. Drawing bark texture is something that gives me great joy, and it communicates Dryad a lot quicker than the picnic blanket lady. Don't take offense, I love the classical paintings. The Dryad, slumbering in her winter phase, will get awakened by the Flower Fairy who gently embraces her. For the Flower Fairy, I had to pick a flower. It couldn't be just any old flower, it had to be a proper spring flower. And a few of the most obvious, in my opinion, are the daffodil and the crocus. So I didn't pick those. I wanted to pick a flower that, to me, meant spring. And that is the magnolia. Magnolias are often the first to bloom and also the fastest to fade. Because they are gone so quickly, I really appreciate them and enjoy them even more when they're back. The hare jumps over the bird nest, filled with eggs. He's a representative of Ostara, the Saxon goddess of spring and fertility. Fun fact, Ostara, also known as Estere, is of course where we get the term Easter. This flowery and magical painting does ask for a little magic. I desperately wanted to make A4 prints with holographic foil. And since I have free will and adult money, there was no stopping me. Overall, the illustration was fun to work on, and it came out like I wanted. The colors are warm and flowery, but I do notice that when working on an illustration, I need to find a way to stay in the momentum. This illustration process was broken up due to my vacation, and that made me not want to continue. If this wasn't a Patreon illustration, I'm sure it would never have been finished. Not because I didn't like the drawing, on the contrary, but because I lost the momentum. The result is that every time I restart the illustration, I start polishing bits I already polished, making the process longer than it needs to be. And adding to that, I lose the style and pencil feel, making the process a bit inconsistent, and making me polish bits again. So my big lesson for next illustration, don't get distracted. Stay in the momentum, and for light's sake, stop over-polishing. Thank you so much for taking time out of your own adventure to listen to mine. If you like this video, make sure to smack that like button and subscribe to my channel for more art adventures. If you're interested in this art piece, check out my Etsy and Patreon to join the conversation for upcoming art challenges. I'll venture forth to my next project, and perhaps we'll meet again.